we got Sophie the Trophy, one half of the Blonde Bombers, coming out and exposing her truth with this Bria Hartley situation, and she's also letting it be known the behind the scenes and what's really going on with Caitlin Clark's injury.
Stephanie White just delivered a shocking update, and it's shaking the entire WNBA. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, two of the league's biggest names, might be walking away. Not a trade, not a benching. We're talking about quitting the WNBA altogether. Fans are stunned, players are reacting, and the league could be in serious trouble.
We'll get evaluated and see what happens from there.
Stephanie White's announcement hit like an earthquake. This wasn't just another injury update or a routine press conference. The Indiana Fever's head coach openly addressed Caitlin Clark's uncertain future, while also hinting that Sophie Cunningham might be considering the same move. Think about that for a second. Two of the league's most competitive and influential players possibly stepping away. That's not just a headline, that's a full-blown crisis for the WNBA. What makes it even more shocking is how unexpected it feels. But when you really start looking closer, the signs have been there for weeks. Constant injuries, endless fines, inconsistent officiating, and a growing divide between players in the league.
Doesn't even know. It's just like a day-by-day legit type of thing. And so, yeah, she's close, but you also have to remember, she could be playing if it wasn't in the WNBA by now, but at this level, with how deep and how good people are nowadays in our league, which is the best it's ever been, you can't just be good, you have to be on top of your game. And so just trying to get her back in game shape, I think, is what they're trying to do. But again, it's literally a day by day. I'm not holding out any information.
These tensions didn't appear overnight. They've been building slowly, and now everything is boiling over. But here's the real question. Is this just frustration talking, or are we genuinely looking at Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham walking away from the WNBA? Let's dig deeper. Caitlin Clark entered the league as its biggest star in decades, instantly transforming the Indiana Fever and putting women's basketball back in the spotlight. Ticket sales skyrocketed, viewership exploded, and every arena she played in became a sellout. She isn't just a player, she's the face of the WNBA. But that kind of spotlight comes with massive pressure, and right now, Clark is carrying more than anyone could have imagined. Her injury situation is a perfect example. Officially, the Fever call it day-to-day, but if you watch closely, something doesn't add up. She's missed practices, skipped film sessions, and even her teammates seem uncertain about when she'll return. That level of mystery around the league's biggest star is unusual, and it's starting to frustrate fans that on top of that, Clark has been taking hard hits in nearly every game. Some matchups look more like wrestling than basketball. And the worst part? The league hasn't done nearly enough to protect her. How much longer can she put her body through this before deciding she's had enough? Could that be the real reason Caitlin is seriously considering stepping away? Then there's Sophie Cunningham, one half of the Blonde Bombers, and one of the most fearless competitors in the league. Sophie has never been afraid to speak her mind, and this time, she went all in. She called out the league, criticized the officiating, and even hinted that Caitlin Clark's situation is becoming unsustainable. This isn't just about one player defending another. Sophie has fought her own battles with the WNBA, and now she's making it clear she won't stay silent any longer.
The ref didn't call. Someone should have been thrown out, and the ref did not call it.
Correct. I remember that.
If I was a ref, I know I would mess up all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing?
She's been fined multiple times for on-court incidents, and even for comments she's made about officiating. It feels like she's been targeted, and she's had enough. Now, with Clark facing constant fouls and questionable calls, Sophie's frustration makes sense. She sees what fans see. A league that claims it wants to grow, but doesn't protect its biggest assets. And if Sophie feels things won't change anytime soon, she could decide to walk away too. But here's the key. Sophie's voice carries weight. When she speaks, players listen. Her backing of Caitlin only fuels speculation that both could be thinking about leaving the WNBA for good. Here's where things get messy. The WNBA is facing a growing double standard. Fans have been pointing out the inconsistencies in how different stars are treated. Some players get away with more physical play. Some get friendlier whistles. And others, like Caitlin Clark, seem to be punished for reacting after being fouled hard. Take Sophie Cunningham's fines, for example. She cracks one joke or points out favoritism, and her wallet takes a hit. Meanwhile, other players openly criticize officiating and get nothing. That sends a message. Certain players are protected, while others are left exposed. The problem isn't just perception. It directly affects games, stats, and careers. When players feel the league isn't officiated fairly, frustration builds. For someone like Clark, constantly in the spotlight and absorbing contact every night, that frustration can quickly turn into burnout. Is it really a surprise that both Caitlin and Sophie might be questioning their future here? The league's credibility is on the line, and unless something changes, things could spiral fast. Inside the Indiana Fever locker room, tensions have been rising. Between Clark's injury, Cunningham's outspoken attitude, and the pressure to win, the environment has grown intense. When your two key players are dealing with this much noise, it inevitably affects team chemistry. There's also the dynamic between players, coaches, and management. Stephanie White is in a tough position. She has to manage star egos, build a winning strategy, and keep the front office satisfied. But when two of your most important players are questioning whether to even stay in the league, how do you lead effectively? Players talk. They notice everything. The inconsistent calls, the league politics, the lack of protection for stars. Combine that with the media storm surrounding Caitlin and Sophie, and the pressure inside that locker room is unlike anything the WNBA has faced before. Could this friction push Clark and Cunningham even closer to making a drastic decision? And if one of them leaves, does the other follow? So, what happens next? Right now, Caitlin Clark has three realistic paths in front of her. The first is to stay in the WNBA and fight for change. She's already shifted the league's landscape and could use her influence to push for better officiating, higher standards of player safety, and real structural improvements. The second path leads overseas. European leagues offer shorter seasons, higher salaries, and, according to many players, more consistent officiating. Caitlin could dominate internationally, play fewer games, and still earn more money. Then there's the third option, a complete pivot outside basketball. With her marketability, sponsorships, and massive fan base, Caitlin could easily transition into professional golf, broadcasting, or media opportunities. The demand for her presence is that strong. Which path makes the most sense? That depends on how much more she's willing to endure in the WNBA as it stands today. Sophie Cunningham's future is just as fascinating. If Caitlin leaves, Sophie's decision could follow closely behind. She's built her reputation as one of the league's most passionate and outspoken players, but she's also battled fines, referees, and league leadership long enough to start weighing her options. If she chooses to stay, Sophie could become a central figure in pushing for player-driven reforms. She has the respect of her peers and the courage to speak up when others stay silent. But overseas leagues could be tempting too, with better pay and fewer penalties for being outspoken. What makes Sophie's situation so pivotal is how connected it is to Caitlin's. If the league loses one, it can survive. But if it loses both, it risks a serious collapse in momentum. That's why all eyes are on Sophie right now. Make no mistake, this isn't just about two players. Caitlin Clark's presence has been the single biggest driver of the WNBA's growth over the past 2 years. Her debut season shattered attendance records, TV ratings hit all-time highs, and sponsorships poured in. If Caitlin steps away, those numbers change overnight. Ticket sales dip, TV deals lose leverage, and merchandise stalls. The Caitlin Clark effect has been real, and losing her would be a devastating hit to the league's growth. And if Sophie follows, that only compounds the damage. It's not just about losing stars. It's about losing credibility with fans, investors, and future players. The WNBA has spent years building momentum. But without Clark and Cunningham, it risks sliding backward fast. The question is, does the league realize how fragile its success really is? Behind closed doors, there's no doubt the WNBA is scrambling. Stephanie White's comments didn't come out of nowhere. This feels like a warning shot aimed directly at league leadership. Coaches, players, and executives all understand what's at stake. Expect meetings, phone calls, and pressure from sponsors. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's a brand driving millions in revenue. If she leaves, the league's trajectory shifts overnight. There's also a growing sense of urgency among other players. Many are watching closely to see how the league handles this. If the WNBA doesn't act quickly to protect its stars and address officiating concerns, it could open the door for even more players to follow Caitlin and Sophie's path to this point. The WNBA has one choice: evolve quickly, or risk losing everything it has built. So here we are. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, two of the league's biggest names, are seriously considering walking away from the WNBA. Stephanie White's announcement has put the entire league on edge, and fans everywhere are asking the same thing. What happens next? Will Caitlin stay and fight for change? Will Sophie take her talents overseas? Or could both decide they've had enough and walk away together? Each path leads to a completely different future for the WNBA. And that brings us to you. If Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham quit, would you still watch the WNBA? Or does the league lose its momentum without them? Drop your thoughts below, because this conversation is far from over.